She's in Pretoria, still there. Patricia, as you say, a sea of red, a wave of blue, and not about to be left out, of course, black, green, and gold. Really a veritable rainbow, wave of colors, I suppose, as the different political parties made their voices felt.
Well, good evening, Bongani, and to our viewers. Certainly that was the mood outside the Pretoria Magistrate Court since very early this morning. And it was very interesting how the various political parties, rather the women from these political parties, really just downed with their political colors. They put their political differences aside and they came together, united, standing in solidarity behind the victim and her family. And of course, they were joined by scores of gender activists and social activists who also came in support, and they united in song for the bigger part of the morning outside the court, where they, of course, one of the things that they stood very firm for was that there should be no bail granted to the accused. Now, we do know that, of course, the accused, even today, did not submit a bail application, and we also know that he has not pleaded guilty or perhaps not guilty in this particular case. So that is the focus, to obviously see what happens after he completes his mental observation at Weskoppies. But the mood outside court remains the strong story, how society came together, and they're actually saying that this is not just about this particular case, but it is really just fighting the overall scourge of gender-based violence in the country. Bongani?
Of course, Patricia, as you say, supporters there making their voices heard, but there's still a thing as due process. The court not swayed by the emotions, making sure that this accused at least has a fair assessment in terms of his mental state of mind.
And that is what the NPA today came and just put clarity to the crowd outside. We saw the NPA spokesperson also appealing for calm, saying that they understand the frustration and perhaps the anger expressed by the political parties and the activists outside court, but they need to understand that this is actually no abnormal practice for an accused to be referred for mental observation. In fact, this is precisely in the interest of justice and just making sure that a normal process, a just process is rolled out, so that if this case can actually bring social justice and justice for the victim, then you make sure that proper processes were followed and all loopholes were followed. And something very interesting that the NPA also emphasized was that they also trying to prevent a situation where later in this particular case the accused and his legal team might come and accuse the state of bias, and also then capitalize on perhaps saying at the later stage, now it is time to send the accused for a mental observation. So rather do it now, and then you know exactly on what basis are you actually rolling out this particular trial on. Is the accused fit to stand trial? Did the accused fully understand at the time when he allegedly committed this crime what he was doing? And is he being charged under the right category? So there are so many legal, elements that needs to be considered here. But you'd also understand how society is reacting to this. So it's really a very sensitive case at this stage, and the task is very much heavy on the NPA's part to make sure that they satisfied all the parties in this particular case, in particular the victim's interest, but also respecting the law, making sure that the accused does receive a fair trial in this particular matter. Bongani?
All right, as I said, due process is a thing. What happens now? In your report, you're saying that he'll remain in custody until a bed can be made available at Weskoppies. What happens next?
Well, for now, he remains in custody until, of course, as you've just mentioned, a bed is made available. The NPA making it very clear that they now need to go and look whether there are, reservations made for him at this particular institution. But it's not far from here, of course, just west of Pretoria. And this can happen any time from tomorrow. If there is a bed available for him tomorrow, then, of course, he will then be transferred from police custody to Weskoppies. Or this could happen in the next coming weeks. But Bongani, depending on that availability of this particular bed, it would, of course, have a great impact on the case itself. And this might lead to even further delays, and I think that is perhaps on the backdrop which the activists and the political party is saying, but they're not happy with the fact that there might be major delays in this particular case, because what happens if we go back on the 28th of November and the defense say, but they still don't have a bed for him at Weskoppies facility, and that means the trial will perhaps only then start next year. So that is the biggest focus right now, to see will there be a bed available for him, and in what time exactly? Will it be within this week, or are we going back in a month's time with the defense perhaps asking for another postponement, as the psychiatric observation would not have been concluded? Now, you know, in normal circumstances during court cases like this, it normally takes about 30 days for the psychiatric observation to be completed, and then a report would then be submitted before court, and that particular report would then be submitted, or rather absorbed as evidence in a court. So, and that would determine, as I said, in which direction the trial can go. Is this accused mentally fit to stand trial or not? Was he aware of what he was doing? You've heard some of the activists saying that they're not buying his story. They feel that he was fully aware of what he is doing. Now, we've also read some information coming from social media.
Right, Patricia, I'm afraid we're going to have to cut it there. I'm afraid, Patricia, we're going to have to cut it there. We've run out of time. Social activists, of course, will always say what they need to, but as we've discussed, due process is a thing, so we'll see how that unfolds. The wheels of justice grinding slowly there.